The HomeTech podcast is supported by you. To find out more, go to HomeTech.fm/support. This is the HomeTech podcast for Friday, January 4th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
And from Dallas, Texas, I'm Cody Crossland.
Hey, Cody, what's going on?
Nothing much, Seth. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Jason is out this week. With, I can only assume we record here. This is the second, so I can only assume it's just a massive hangover that he had
again
from the first. So Happy New Year, Jason.
Happy New Year, Jason. Cheers.
Yeah. So I have Cody on, who's only, the only reason he's walking is because he's been what is that called? Where you bite the hair of the dog, where you have to just keep drinking to stay not drunk.
It's actually from Archer, and the key to not having a hangover is to just keep drinking, because if you stop, the cumulative hangover will literally kill you.
So it's good. We're still drinking. You, my friend, have some tequila, which I don't. Every time I've met you and met up with you, you're drinking tequila, which is fascinating.
It's a Texas thing.
I suppose. Most people I know that have drank tequila usually, the nights do not end for them so well. So
this particular episode is brought to you by Codigo.
Well, I decided to partake in my beverage of choice, which is a nice cold glass of gin that we have here. So this happens to be Kirkland's brand, signature brand, which is Costco, yes, but it's still a good. It's on level of like Beefeater or something like that. It's not. And I know I'm saying this, and you're just like, yeah, Listerine. I can taste it. But it's no Bombay. It's no Bombay. We'll just. It's no Sapphire. We'll leave it at that.
The secret is the value, because I think at Costco you can get it in a 5-gallon jug.
And that's what I've done. Yeah, I mean, for $20 you get the 5-gallon jug and you're done, and it's halfway decent tasting gin. So, thanks to Costco, thanks to Mexico for the agave plant and the tequila. So, what do you say we jump into some home tech headlines?
Yeah, let's do it.
Smart speakers maker Sonos seems to be readying a satellite speaker to bring true surround sound as well as voice control to its Playbar soundbar. If an FCC filing is any indication. The heavily redacted filing, which was published this Monday, describes a new Sonos device with the model number S18 that has both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. A list of equipment used in the testing, the device includes a mention of the company's existing Playbar as a, quote, master device, and describes the S18 as a, quote, wireless smart speaker, leading some to believe the S18 will be a dedicated satellite speaker for surround sound setups rather than an independent device. However, the satellite speaker also seems to have touch controls similar to the ones introduced with the Sonos One, and which includes the symbol of the built-in microphone on there too. So I'm not so sure. The S18 sounds like it could just be like any other Sonos speaker you can include in a surround sound system.
This is pretty interesting. I wonder how they'll price this in comparison to the Play One, because previously with the Playbar, and I've done this in the past, is you can use a Play One as surround speakers in a surround sound setup. So I'm kind of curious if there will be any price advantage to using the S18 if it's a dedicated surround speaker.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can use just about any. So, like, you can use the Play 3, you can use the Play 5 as surround sound speakers as well. Like, it's been part of every Sonos setup that I've ever known. You can even use the amps, like the old and new amps. You just have to.
Oh, that's right.
You have to run a hardwire between the Playbar itself, or the soundbar itself, and the amp, and then there's some special menu option you have to go change. But if that's the case, like I don't really know that like it's a big deal. But like you said, the pricing is very interesting. The Play One is $199 these days. Is this like a low cost Bluetooth speaker that you can just kind of quickly add in? Like the Bluetooth thing actually stood out to me because that's what Sonos gets dinged on quite. I don't think they should get dinged on it, because like the Wi-Fi network that they set up and manage is it's better than the Bluetooth, using a Bluetooth speaker. But if this can get like Bluetooth audio into the Sonos system and be like a little dedicated speaker you may be able to bring out by the pool or something like that and just set out there while you're chilling on the deck, like for what, $99, half the price, $149. I think that's a home run. The model number is not, though. S18.
I have to agree.
Yeah, that's horrible. Both August and Ring look poised to release new products this year. After August previously filed for a trademark rights to the word View last year, so the August View, Dave Zatz actually discovered an image in the upcoming for the upcoming smart doorbell today. As far as Amazon's Ring smart home products, it looks like we'll see a dedicated lineup of security lights arriving soon. Again, all this was reported by Dave Zatz through The Verge, and details about the Ring beams, which are the Ring spotlights, have been leaked through an FCC filing. So Dave Zatz is kind of like the guy for this week. No news has happened other than what Dave has been able to like dig up and discover. Crazy. This guy, I don't know how he does it.
He's been busy.
Yeah, it just comes to him, I think. But I don't know. He's so quiet for a while, and then like the last couple of days, CES is right around the corner. So I hope we'll see something with these at like the August doorbell, the August View. I guess it's a doorbell with a camera, and the Ring beams. Maybe at CES, maybe further out. Who knows? But I hope that we see something with these at CES this year.
Yeah, the Ring beams is kind of interesting because it's a separation of what they've done previously, which has mostly been cameras with lights. And the Ring beams is actually just lights that you can do on its own, right? From what I'm reading. And then if you have an existing, like a wired spotlight camera or something that you want some additional light coverage on, you can actually pair the devices together to get like a super light with your camera.
Yeah, and I will say the August doorbell looks pretty good. Like you don't see that very often with doorbells that sit at people's homes. Like I think they did a pretty good job putting this one together. It looks very close to the Ring Pro, I think.
Yeah, as far as size.
Yeah, size and looks, really. I mean, it kind of has that same rectangular shape to it. The Ring beams also not a model number name that I'm a fan of. Like it could have got to something else, but.
And model numbers are hard.
Yeah. If anything of this episode, that's what we've learned. Model numbers are very hard. So switching gears here and talking a little bit about streaming. Early in the morning, Friday, December 28th, the week of the Christmas there, Netflix slipped its viewers a late Christmas present, an episode of Charlie Brooker's technological dystopia anthology series Black Mirror in the form of an interactive movie called Bandersnatch. In Bandersnatch, the protagonist, Stefan, is trying to create his own interactive video game, which happens to also be called Bandersnatch. And as you navigate through the time plot, your decisions shape how he responds to family trauma, his own mental illness, and mental image, I suppose, potential conspiracies, and the gaming design process that quickly goes off the rails. Will Stefan do acid? Will he murder his father with an ashtray? Will he listen to Now That's What I Call Music compilation, or will he pick the Thompson Twins cassette? It's up to you. Cool idea. It's like a choose your own adventure book in a movie form. I don't know. I have not seen this. Have you seen this?
I have not seen it either, but it is on my queue now that I've just finished up the final season of House of Cards. So I'm looking for something new, and looks like I'll be putting this on the top of the queue just to kind of check it out. I don't know. I was a fan of the Choose Your Own Adventure books as a kid, though, being in a book, you could always like pick one and then flip to that page. And if you didn't like it, go back and choose the other page.
You'd have like your fingers in the book, like
exactly.
in different pages. Yeah.
So you wanted to make sure that you ended up not dying at the end. But I don't know if I'll bother doing that, or I don't know. What do you think? Do you think you'll watch it straight through, or do you think you'll pick your own adventure?
So I think I'm lazy, and I know myself. I'm lazy, and I don't like. I mean, I might do one choice as like just to like play with it or something, but I don't know. I would rather the writers think for me, I guess, rather than me have to think about.
Because you're not a writer, right? You're just assuming they're better at their job than you are at their job.
Yeah, they know how this should go. I don't know. It seems kind of fun, and I'm kind of with you on the like choose your own adventure cheat. There's a story that The Verge has that has like a link to Reddit. Reddit has gone in and basically started this huge thread, which has like a flowchart, basically of every decision that you can make and what those decisions lead to in the matrix in that decision tree. So. Yeah, I may pull that up to kind of like take that look and see where the plot line could go off the rails if I don't do anything. But I'll probably watch it through and not do anything. And if it's a good movie, then I might watch it again and play around with those interactive features. But one thing that people noticed when this came out is that it doesn't work on the Apple TV. So there was a lot of complaints about that, that you could use a Roku or you could use some other app, I guess, on Netflix, but you couldn't use a Chromecast and you couldn't use an Apple TV. And we'll put I saw a life hacker story, so we'll put a link to that in the show notes at HomeTech.fm/239. How to watch Black Mirror Bandersnatch on an Apple TV or Chromecast. And that way you can get the... I don't know why Netflix released this and didn't have their apps updated and like ready to go, but man, it seems like a big mess if you're missing out on Apple TV and Chromecast.
For me, this eliminates any potential of watching it on the big screen then, because Apple TV happens to be my streaming box at the moment. So basically, this just means that it's going to be something that I watch, while dealing with insomnia in bed on the iPad, because I'm presuming it's like the skip intro button, which is like the best thing that they've introduced in a long time. So, you'll actually be able to just touch, whatever your choice is.
Well, there's two little buttons that pop up like at the bottom of the screen. It's like take the pills or don't take the pills kind of thing. It's like you have those two choices and big giant buttons at the bottom. So hopefully Netflix will have that updated. I was trying to see there's a nice little unfortunately we didn't get this. It's only compatible with newer smart TVs, most streaming media players, game consoles, and web browsers. iOS and Android devices running the latest Netflix app. So, sorry. So sorry. Apple TV Apple's launching a new Apple TV service next year, and we just didn't get to that. Update that particular device for the new cool thing that we're doing.
I wonder if this has anything to do with that whole process where they're ending the in-app subscriptions. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot going on with Netflix these days. And with Apple bringing, Apple's bringing media on board, Disney's bringing a new media streaming thing on board. Next year is going to be crazy. And I think Netflix is just kind of like, okay, time to put some walls and start playing just as nice as we have to. Not as nice as we need to, but just as nice as we have to, with these guys. And, is it smart? I don't know. Netflix seems to be the big dog and, they're the ones to kind of take down. So, we'll have to see what Apple can do. It's good for Netflix though. Like they get to keep their money. They get to keep 30%. They don't have to pay a competitor 30. Well, I think they were paying Netflix less, right? Netflix was getting like 15 or something. But
yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, streaming does have the convenience factor, but at the end of the day, if it's a holiday and you're trying to watch Die Hard because it's Christmas and you can't find it available on the streaming service that you happen to be subscribed to, at the end of the day, being able to walk over and pick up a disc, that wins.
Right. Yep. No, that's it. I ripped Die Hard, so I'm good. I'm good to go with that.
Sorry, FBI guy.
Well, I mean, no, it's my disc. I do what I want with it. He can come over and watch it if he wants. But hey, I was explaining that Plex to some family members yesterday, actually, and it's like, no, it's my disc. Like we have all the discs. There, you can see the box right over there in my garage here. But it's like, I'm not gonna. We're out of room, right?
They'll call that a lease. You're actually leasing the IP on disc. You don't actually own
it. I can say, like, when I was younger, it was a lot easier for me to go to a website or spend all the arduous amount of time that it takes to go to a website and find. Off the back of the bus or off the back of the truck type, this is just kind of fell. Let me pick this up and walk away. It was a lot easier for me to do that when I had no money and questionable morals, I guess, at that point. I don't know.
Time.
It was easier for me to hit the button there, download. And I felt no pain about that. But now it's like, okay, I want to support these creators. I like their movies. I'll pay for the movie if I like it. And I've actually always paid for movies because I would rack up more fines at Blockbuster than the movie was actually worth most of the time.
It's because you forgot to rewind.
I forgot to return it and rewind, whatever. Like it didn't matter. Like I'd turn over a pillow in my room and find, movies that were due last month and be like, oh, this is going to be a painful visit to Blockbuster. And thank God for the Dropbox up front, because you didn't have to like have that humiliation when you went in.
They had the night drop. You just
just
dropped it
slide it right in
thing.
there. Yeah. Swing by Wendy's, get some junk food and stuff your face on the way home, and somehow maintain a weight below 175. I don't know how I did it. I really don't know how I did it, but here we are. Here we're old. And the reason I had you on the show is that we have houses and a lot, we're old now and we own homes, and you just recently purchased a house. I
did. For the second time.
So this is number 2. This is house number 2. You now the reason I know this is because I guess we could do a disclosure here. Like, you and I work together. We're part of the team at Blackwire.
That's true.
And you're on the sales side. I'm on the programming side, and we chat. What daily, hourly, something like that.
Minutely, if you ask my
wife. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So we know what's going on, and there was a point in time in your life where we were just getting pictures. Like, the communication almost stopped. We were just getting pictures. We're like, oh man, look at it. This guy has so much work to do. So, you were sending pictures of homes you were looking at, and then all of a sudden you found this house that you guys liked, and you purchased it, and like, it was the whole process. So that was a project in and of itself. But we want to talk about what you plan on doing in the house now that you have it, and what you'd like to do, because I know you haven't finished. Like, I'm looking at the screen right now, and I can see the ladder and the drop cloth and the shop vac. The shop vac is hilarious. Yeah. So the paint looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
The paint looks awesome. I know you want to do things in this house, like speakers, sound, audio, TVs.
That's right. Once an AV guy, always an AV guy.
Yeah. But I know this from my second home here. Like, the priorities of getting a house like up and going, AV is kind of even for us is kind of low. But
it really is.
We know that we want to have it, so we're always like contemplating and planning. And I just want to kind of pick your brain. It's like what that planning process looks like for you right now, and what you hope to do. And then maybe in like 10 years, we can have you back on, and you can tell us, what you ended up doing.
Maybe I'll be halfway finished with my project by then.
Right. Maybe the rooms will have an extra, couple of coats of paint, but
I'm definitely going to have the trim painted by then.
Right. So where do we start? I mean, just kind of give us an overview of kind of like what you found in the home, what was there existing, and where your mind was like what you wanted when you were looking for the house, because I know you had a couple of requirements of rooms and that kind of thing that you were looking for.
Yeah, so this is actually a pretty nice upgrade from our other home that we were living in. I guess you could say it was our starter home, so to speak. We lived there for about 13 years, and it was pretty good. There's just the three of us most of the time, but we didn't really have any room to host any holidays or anything like that. And as our son got older and, started having friends over and things like that, we realized that we needed a little bit more room. So we decided to upgrade from 1,400 square feet to about 3,400 square feet. And in the process, I got very lucky to find something that was relatively affordable in this crazy hot DFW real estate. And it allowed a couple of new things that I didn't have previously that were pretty good on my list, not necessarily my wife's list. She had her own list of things that she wanted. But for me, it was an actual home office. No offense, Seth.
None taken.
Yours is a nice 20 by 20, I think. Is that what you've got?
Yeah, I've got all the space in the world, and if I pull the car out.
Yeah, I was going to say you're sharing it with what is either a really nice Miata or a BMW.
That's a Z3. So yeah, 96 Z3, and it was our little play car that we bought before our daughter, and now it was supposed to just sit in the garage here and do nothing, but now it's kind of turned into like the quick errand car. If you don't have the car, you don't need the car seat. Like,
that's
we're
right.
not in it, but we have that. But
try and pretend about life before you had a kid.
Yeah. It's here. We can come out and look at it and sigh. You can't fit a car seat or a kid in it, so what are you gonna do?
So right. No, we ended up actually getting space for a media room upstairs, which I was really excited about because I've never actually had space for that, and I love doing a projection setup, for my customers over the years and things like that. Being able to bring that movie experience home is really cool. And as kids, my wife and I both enjoyed spending movie night like once a week, like you said, going to Blockbuster on Friday night, rummaging through, seeing what new releases were available, and then going home and popping some popcorn and watching a movie. So we're looking forward to that particular aspect of it. But the house that we bought, being built in 2004, was kind of, before this big smart home kind of convergence thing happened. I mean, my home is actually about the same age as Control 4 is as a company, so to speak. So the house itself didn't have any pre-wiring for speakers. It didn't have any pre-wiring for touchscreens or really anything beyond like a phone jack in the kitchen.
But did you have structured wiring? Did you at least have that?
No structured wiring.
Oh no,
nothing at all. So there were a couple cable outlets, like I guess they had like the cable or satellite box in every room. So at least there's that. But yeah, there's really nothing as far as structured wiring. So really kind of a blank canvas from that standpoint. But it was kind of interesting because we were able to, we had to sell our house first. And that's just kind of how the timing played out. We sold our house and then moved in with our in-laws. And
that's fun.
When we closed, yeah, it was fun for the time that we were there. It was great. It could have been worse. It was pretty great. And so we're living with them and we're closing on this house and we're thinking, okay, so we don't have anything immediately that we need to, move into the house. So we'll just kind of take advantage of this time to, do some flooring, do some things like that. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'll get in and I'll start doing some retrofit of, TV locations and speakers and Wi-Fi access points and things like that, like I do on all the other projects historically. And, you start doing some of those things, but, we also had some other things that we wanted to do like kitchen and bath, paint and remodel and things like that. So immediately I put in the Ring doorbell, which is like the first thing. So you can kind of keep an eye on deliveries and, any subcontractors kind of coming in and out of the house if you're not there. And, so I did that and the internet was installed. And then you find that you get busy with all these other things that are going on.
Yeah, and like you painting, replacing flooring, making decisions for kitchen. Yeah.
You end up doing none of the other stuff that you thought that you would be able to do. And it's just kind of interesting because, let's see, we closed at the end of August, and here it is in January, and I just now got around to installing the ceiling speakers that I've had new in box for months, some True Audios in the ceiling of my office. And so I was so excited about that, that I'm finally getting around to do that. And I was in the middle of painting. I stopped painting, went over and hooked them up to the amp and just so I could get some music going. And so out of all this time and all this remodeling and everything, that's really been the only thing I've been able to hook up. But you know how the adage is, right? You're, as an integrator or as anybody in the industry, you're selling, you're designing, you're supporting other projects. And then by the time you get home, it seems like that's the last thing that you want to do is do some more work on your own stuff.
Right. Yeah. The cobbler's sons have no shoes and that kind of
exactly.
Situation, yeah.
So, but I do have some plans, I have, I want to do distributed audio and I've been trying to think of some cool ways to, obviously I want to try and retrofit some speakers in the kitchen because the kitchen's a big hangout area when you've got friends and family over, for just getting together because you threw some steaks on the grill or for the holidays. And so, we've been looking at, how we want to do different speakers, and the media room is going to be a whole other project. I'm going to spend the most time and anxiety on that, I think, because I've never had one before and I want to do it right. But then, I think you're kind of paralyzed by choice because there's so many different, like, is my screen too big? Is it too small? Am I too close? Am I too far? Do I spend the money for the 4K or do I go with the 1080p and just wait for the 4K prices to fall? So there's a bunch of choices that it's easy, I think, to present those, as a former integrator to your clients, and the clients make the decision. You're like, okay, well, based on your budget or based on your needs, this is what you chose. But now I'm making both the recommendation and the decision on what to pick. and it's kind of like I need somebody else to pick it for me.
You need to get hooked up with those guys over at Rayva, right? Rayva. They're doing the we need to get Theo Kalomarakis in here and get him to like tell you, just Cody, get this and this. That's what you're going to need, and you'll be good to go. I think.
Yeah, it'll be a lot easier. It might be a little bit more painful on the budget, but it'll be a lot easier.
It'll be a lot more painful on the budget, but that's you're going to get the performance you're looking for without the anxiety. You know, I think it's a trade off, right? Like it's that triangle: fast. Was it fast, cheap, and done right, or something like that?
Yeah, and good. Fast, cheap, and good.
Yeah. So like the project manager triangle is also relates to sales in the CI world.
And it's kind of interesting too. There was a bit of a debate internally for me for a while as far as whether or not I was going to put an actual control system in the house. I've been a Control4 dealer for 10 years, and I knew the product in and out, and installed it many, many times, and it was something that my wife was familiar with, and it was kind of a known quantity. But, I was thinking to myself, at the end of the day, is this something that, I want to do again in my own home? And, or do I want to do something else? And so, evaluated some of those options. And really kind of the only DIY thing for me that kind of stood out as something that would work comparable to our needs was the Logitech Harmony Pro, or the Harmony Elite, I guess is what you call it, because you do get some nice integrations, and it's pretty straightforward, and you don't have to be, an authorized integrator, to do that. But at the end of the day, when we sat down and looked at the long-term plan of what we wanted to do with the lighting control, with the distributed music, with TVs in more than one room, security integration and things like that. When you look at the whole overall picture, it became clear that we needed something that a system like the Logitech Harmony, which I think is great for one room systems or for a system like at my dad's house. Because he's not doing all that. He just wants to be able to easily turn the TV on. Where me, I've got, the Ring, I've got the Rachio, I've got the Ecobee thermostats, I've got distributed audio and, some lighting control and things like that. So it really becomes more out of the wheelhouse of something like a Logitech Harmony could do. And they've made big strides, but I don't think that they're quite at the level of something like a Control4 has. And simultaneously, you're seeing players like Control4 and Crestron with the ping, kind of come down market in a way. Where they're kind of trying somewhat, with ping and with Control4 with the CA1, you're seeing some of the prices kind of come down, and they're like, oh, we can do the single room scenario type things too. So it's been kind of an interesting convergence in that kind of middle market, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think for me, I think long term, it's going to be some kind of a professional system to that regard, versus some of the DIY systems. But there are a lot of features that the DIY system have, that the serious professional installed systems will not need to take a look at,
Right. These are some of the same issues I was going through 4 years ago. Is it? God, yeah, 4 years ago, maybe longer, when we bought our second house, and it was like, what do we want to install for the lighting control? And I had like 3 really good options, and my preferences were like, okay, 1, it has to look halfway decent, and I have to be able to buy it. 2, it has to integrate, 3, it has to handle like it have to have a combo keypad dimmer. Like the dimmer has to be able to be a keypad and a dimmer at the same time. And in 4, that really alleviates my 3-way issues. So I took all the 3-ways out of my house. And then 4, and most importantly, is that my wife had to sign off on the way it looked and what she wanted to go into the house, because it's when I basically lined up like Insteon, Lutron, and Control4, and she had some various opinions on it, and I think Insteon would have won, but I mean she ended up liking the Control4 a little bit better, just for the looks, and for me it was just like, well, I also have like a couple of Control 4 dimmers. And
Yeah,
I already have like the Control 4 processor and the remotes.
That's what helped swing some of my decision-making process as well. It was like, okay, I took all the stuff from my other house, and, I had Control 4 there too. And, I said, I've got a perfectly good EA5. I've got, some lighting, because, the people that were buying our other house were not going to be interested in that stuff to the value that I was. So I took it all with me. So I was like, well, I can reinvest in something totally different, or, I can kind of go with what I've got for now and just kind of keep an eye on these other things. Because like lighting was a thing that was important for me too, for a number of different features. So I was looking at, the Lutron, both the Cassetta and the like Raw 2 Select, as well as the Vantage controls lighting system. And
wait, they're still around?
Yeah, Vantage is still around.
Huh.
And they're owned by Legrand, so they're still kind of doing some.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I did. Well, I'm thinking of one that's not Vantage that went away like overnight, probably a decade ago.
Are you talking about the one that Savant bought?
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of actually. So yeah. Okay, so I think it was Light Touch, maybe.
Light Touch, yeah.
Yeah. That's the one I'm thinking
of. Bought them and then said, okay, well, we don't need this anymore.
Right. That was I still come across those types of systems here in some of the bigger homes, and it's like, that's a time bomb, and when it goes, like, it's going to be a full Lutron upgrade for a lucky Lutron QS dealer in town, because they're going to have a good time just retrofitting this out and putting new stuff in. That's painful, and yeah, I totally get you on that. So, so you talked a little bit earlier about the speakers that you had, and from what I remember, you have like a 2-story house, right? So it's not easy to retrofit speaker wiring in at least what I know and how we build homes here. I don't know how you guys do it in Texas, but
definitely not easy, especially if the joists are not run in your favor. So. I started with the easiest room that I could get to, which was my office, because even though it's on the first floor, there's attic space above it that you can actually get to. So that was really straightforward. The thing that I'm not looking forward to is retrofitting speakers in the kitchen,
which you said is the most important room of the house.
I know. And so therein lies my great challenge. So we actually had a good friend of mine who was a electrician come in and retrofit some lights, or at least not some lights, but the Romex for adding upper and under cabinet lights. So what they had to do was just cut the sheetrock, and then I have a really great sheetrock guy who comes back and can do the patch and the paint, the texture and everything, and make it look like nothing happened. So I think that's going to be the scenario for the kitchen, is that, I'll have to just figure out the kind of least invasive path, so to speak, through the kitchen and to some place that has accessible attic space, and just cut the sheetrock in a strip. You see those guys who do it, and for whatever reason they'll cut like 49 holes.
Yeah. So here's the trick, guys. If you're listening and you don't know the trick, and your installers don't know the trick, tell them this: drywallers get paid by the hole. So just cut the hole that you need, and the sheetrock costs nothing. It's the labor to patch all those tiny little holes. So yeah, that's the secret that no one wants you to know for some reason.
I learned that the hard way, because I thought, oh well, I'll only cut a little hole here, and a little hole here, and a little hole here, and then he told me, he was like, no, don't do that. It's just easier just to cut a big hole, and I can cut one piece of sheetrock out and screw it in place.
Yep.
And then texture that and blend it and everything. And, it's just way easier. So I'm just thinking I'm going to cut, like a 2-foot by 10-foot hole in my kitchen ceiling. I'll just have to wait until my wife is out of town or something like that, because she'll probably freak.
Holidays were not a good time for this.
Yeah. So, yeah, right. Christmas Eve, right before everybody shows up the next day, right? You're over there with a jab saw in your ceiling. Hey, don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. So, yeah, just cut a big section, drill what you need to drill, fish your wires through, put it back in place, and then see how well you can bribe the guy to come over and do the patch paint and texture and get all that taken care of in a timely fashion. And then the secret is to make sure that you have the exact same paint color, because we tried to match the existing color in the kitchen to cover up some really poor accent color choices, and we're a few shades off. So as long as you don't look at the ceiling, it's not a huge problem. But if you actually look at the ceiling, there's something quite not right about a few places in the ceiling. You're like, oh, you've just been drinking.
So you're going to be painting a ceiling, is what you're telling me. Like,
exactly.
When all is said and done, you're going to be painting a ceiling. That's what you'll have to do. So, okay, so I've got one here is one of our project questions. What were some of your greatest challenges? That definitely sounds like one of your greatest challenges. I know of another great challenge that you have, and we're going to have to do some outsourcing to the home tech community here.
Put it out to the hive mind.
Whatever they tell you to do, you're going to have to do. All right. So Cody is in the situation where he has this important room in his house. It's a kitchen, and you've got the kitchen, and it's like got a bar kind of area that looks out into the family room, right? The room that you would want to watch a TV in.
It's not really an open concept, so to speak, because there is kind of a wall, but we'll post pictures of it, and you can from the kitchen see into the living room. Right.
And the question is, where do you put the TV? Now, ideally, you'd put it over in like this corner. You have this wall that's like is it a 45-degree angle that has this wall on?
So from the kitchen sink where you can see into the living room, the TV wall is on a 90-degree to where you're at in the kitchen.
So you can't actually see the TV from the kitchen if you were to do that. Like, you'd be standing in the kitchen and you'd look out and you wouldn't be able to see the TV.
I mean, depending on the size, right? So, I mean, if you went big enough, you could probably stand at a certain angle and see it.
Right.
Where I could
the other like kitchen. The best location was that corner that you have there, but unfortunately, there's a fireplace in that corner, right?
Oh, which brings me back to one of my pet peeves. I personally, and I know that we'll probably get a lot of hate mail either way on this.
No, you won't. Not on this show. You won't get any hate mail for this.
I personally do not like it when TVs are mounted, at 6 foot in the air to the bottom of the TV above a fireplace.
Right.
Because then you're sitting on the couch and, you're injuring your neck trying to take a look at it. And I know that there are some really great companies out there like Mantle Mount, for example, who has the mount that you can pull down when you want to watch the TV and not get a neck injury, which is pretty cool. And I think they even have a really nice motorized version of that now. So, that's kind of an option. But I don't know. I have like a built-in area, and what we were thinking about doing if we put the TV there, which is what they thought that you were going to do with your CRT TV back in the day when the house was built. We were thinking about putting a TV there and then doing some built-ins around it.
Oh, you had the big cove thing where the big giant the projection TV would slide into, right?
That's right.
That. Yeah.
The big Mitsubishi RP.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Which was, because it's an exterior wall and it's full of windows and the ceiling's 22 feet high, their infinite wisdom for pre-wiring was a coax cable.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Coax
you can do everything.
Is the future.
It's copper. Yeah, you could do anything you want with that wire. So, okay, so you have some design challenges here, and what we'll do is we'll put a picture up online, and tell you what, we'll collect all these and just get them back over to you. But if you have an idea what Cody could do in this room, mark it up in MS Paint.
We only accept entries that have been marked up in MS Paint.
right, or whatever, and just I think you can do it on iPhone now, which it looks just about the same. Put where you think the TV should go, and let us know, because there's great. I mean, one thing that's going to get disqualified is if you put it over the fireplace, like that'll disqualify. I've told Cody, like, we would disown him if he did that. So,
and this is only my second time on the show, so we can't do that.
Right. Yeah, you were on the show a long time ago. You were in the other house, the smaller house, in the closet talking to us, and now you have a real office.
I take my podcasting very seriously.
Well, it sounded great. I'm like, man, this guy's got like a booth or something. And then he says, man, I'm really hot. I've been sitting in this closet for for an hour and a half while you guys talk to me.
And I turned off the air conditioning because I didn't want any extra noise.
Yeah, that's not smart. So
I'm just a nice guy like that.
Yeah, well, it's internet. It's the internet audio, and we'll do the best we can with it. So, but now you have this big office now, and an entire house to do this, whatever you want in it. So, sounds like you have a number of things you'd like to do.
I have my work cut out.
Yeah, it does sound like you have your work cut out for you. What's next on the roadmap as far as AV is concerned? I know it looks like you got a ladder there, so you got to finish painting the office. But what's the next room that gets finished off? Kitchen or office or theater?
Well, AV wise, the master bedroom. So I am very fond of our 2008 vintage Panasonic plasma TV.
Oh yeah.
So I had an extra 50-inch just LED TV, and that ended up in the living room for the time being. And my plasma, because it was wall mounted before and I didn't have the stand for it, is currently leaning up against the wall on the floor in my master bedroom.
Did you brace the wall? Because those are kind of heavy, and I don't know if the wall can handle that TV.
We have it kind of blocked off so that the dogs don't get too close to it, because there could be like an insurance claim, I think, if something were to happen.
It would severely injure a small woodland creature. Yeah, I could see that if it fell over. Yeah.
The good news is I'm not worried about my kid anymore. He's 10 and he knows better, so It's not like he's going to try and do a chin up on the TV. But I do need to get a mount for that and mount that in the master bedroom. That has been a special request from the wife, so we'll get that done.
Oh, then it's top priority.
That's right. I had, and it's funny, those old Panasonics, I don't know if you're familiar with it. They have a very, I guess, unique is the word to use here instead of frustrating bolt pattern.
So, is this the one with the bolts like stick off of it?
No, it's just the spacing's really bizarre. So if you get the spacing off the manual and then you go to a website like, for example, Snap AV, they sell a ton of mounts, and they're all, universal to a certain degree, up to so many inches and up to so many pounds, but they have the Visa patterns that it'll support. None of their mounts will actually work on my Panasonic. So I think I actually found Sanus mounts. I never pronounced that right.
Sanus.
Sure. And they actually have a mount that they have confirmed will fit that particular bolt pattern. So they're getting my money for that, at least. So that way I can put it on the articulating. I like to do articulatings that does stick off the wall a little bit more, but if you ever need to service anything behind it, you have the flexibility to pull it off and get back there and do what
that's
you
a good idea.
Yeah, without having to actually take the TV down and unplug everything. And, you're trying to hold it on your shoulder while you're hooking an HDMI in, and then crap, it's backwards.
Yeah. I kind of have that. I'm kind of regretting my decision of just mounting the TVs up as quickly as I could with a flat mount. And now I'm like, I could really use the ability to get behind there. That's a great idea. Take that as a pro tip off the podcast here.
Pro tip.
And they're not like as big as they used to be. Used to like they'd stick off the wall like 5 inches.
No, you can get some really razor thin ones. I'm still gonna have some sexy off wall hangage, but that's also because my plasma is, I don't know, like a foot deep or something ridiculous. Right. The other thing I have to make sure is that there's not any combustibles, I think, within a certain radius of the TV, because that thing generates a lot of heat.
I hope you installed a dedicated air conditioner for the master bedroom, because we actually had one of those Panasonic, like the 50-inch, and it came off like an old client that upgraded their TV, and they're like, you can have this for $50. I'm like, done, because it's a nice TV and it had great speakers on it and everything. It just, as a standalone TV, worked great, 720p all the way. And the only reason I got rid of it is because it did not support for whatever, and maybe I just don't know what I'm doing, but I have a just had power system, and for whatever reason, when I was using that, I think everything was stuck on like 720p, or it was stuck on 480p, and I don't think I set it up right, and eventually got rid of it because it was this giant TV, and we bought like an LG for $500, and it was like 4K, so done. Okay, that's smart, but. This thing had like the mount that this thing came with probably weighed as much as the TV. It was one of those Chief mounts.
It's ridiculous.
It's like the flat panel you put on the wall, and you could bolt this. This thing was like a flat panel of maybe like 14 gauge steel with two little eyelets in it. And then on the TV, you actually screwed in the eyelets on the TV into the holes that the pattern was on. And the idea was that you would use two people, not one idiot, to hang this TV. And I never really had that at any point in time. So it was just me like wriggling underneath this thing, trying to get it up on the wall and slide it into these two little eyelets and get it to drop down like a picture frame. And man, that is it, Chief. No, you guys should have been shot for that. That was the worst mount ever. And it still stuck off the wall like 20 inches because it was a plasma TV, but
in their
still
defense,
a great TV.
They probably assumed more than one person was going to hang the TV.
I probably said it right on the manual, but you know what? I didn't have the manual. And I had this 80-pound TV I had to lift over my head. And yeah,
there's some good pros and cons from that. Pro, your TV's mounted on the wall. Con, you now have a double hernia.
Yeah, right. And it's, once it's up, you're confident it's never going to fall because that mount, if you can hang the mount on the wall, that mount would never come off, right? Because it's got like it's got all these holes in it, and you're like, if I hang this mount on the wall with like drywall toggles or something, the mount is going to fall off. So,
yeah, it's so heavy.
Yeah, you had to make sure you hit at least two or three studs with that thing. Like, and I understand why we used to do the dead wood. Like the builders come through and like, oh, I put all this dead wood up, and like, great, I got to retrofit wires now. Thanks, sir. And then he walks away all happy that he told his guys to put in that dead wood. But yeah, now I see why they did all that because, man, TVs are great these days. They're like 20 pounds and 80 inches. Like it's ridiculous how great TVs are these days.
It's come a long way.
Yeah, definitely. So, man, I think that's going to wrap us up for our discussion on the project that you have going out there. If people want to reach out to you, well, actually, people are going to reach out to us, and we're going to put the stuff online, and we're gonna feed you all of these, and we'll have everybody vote on them, and the one that comes in to tell you like where the TV is going to go in your room, that's the one you're going to have to do. You're going to have to do that. You're going to bring it to your wife and say, hey, this is what the internet collective says we should do, and I think she'll be all right with it.
That's what we'll have to do. All right.
I think you'll be all right with it too.
We'll have to post the results of the poll. Like how long are we going to give them to turn this in?
I don't know. It's a podcast. We'll give them a month, right? Oh, I mean, you have plenty of things to do before you get to that room, right?
Yeah, trust me. I'm not in any hurry.
So we give them a month or two, and we'll revisit this maybe in next quarter.
Yeah, or the next presidential term. Who knows? Who knows?
This is how it is. You're going to be busy. So this year is going to be busy for us. We're gonna try to go to Cedia with the Blackwire. I don't know. We'll see. It's not our money. We don't have to worry about spending anything. We can just say we're going to Cedia.
Come see us. Come hang out with us.
Yeah, we may have something. We may, if food permits and everything go as well as what we want them to do, we may have something very special.
And if not, then we're still going to be eating anyway and drinking. So you should still come find us.
You should still come by because it's going to be a very unique booth. We're going to make sure that happens. It's not going to be like it's not going to be untasteful. Like you can bring the kids and the family and that kind of thing. So we'll have a great time.
It's the new Las Vegas. Kid friendly.
Yeah, exactly. There may be slot machines. Who knows? All right. Well, Cody, thanks for joining us here on the show. What we're going to do now is we're going to jump out of this, jump back into kind of like our regular format, and have like you're going to join me on the rest of the show because you're kind of like the guest co-host this week.
I love it.
So we're going to drop out of this. We have no mailbag this week. No one wrote us a letter over the holidays, which is cool. That's fine. Everybody's hanging out with family and friends and doing their thing. But what we do want to talk about is a pick of the week that came up, and I have this titled "Conveniently Afternoon Spray."
Nice.
This is a reference to a show that I shared with Cody and demanded that he go take a look at, and that show is Patriot, and I'm so glad that he decided.
It's not the one with Mel Gibson. Just so you're clear.
Yeah, no, Patriot. We've talked about it a number of times on the show. If you haven't seen it, please go to Amazon and watch the show, and hopefully they'll pick up a third season because the first and second seasons are just great. So
we are not paid by Amazon to say that it's a good show, but it's a good show.
And even if we were, we wouldn't take their money. Yes, we would, but it's a great show. But this thing, man, my wife found this, and she's like, "Hey, you have to put this on your podcast and talk about it because this is one really cool piece of home tech." And I looked at it and I agree. So what this thing is, it is an electric fireplace that has like a mister built into it, right?
Okay.
So you can take this thing, you plug it in, and you turn it on. I guess you fill it with water or hook it up to, I don't know. I haven't really looked at the instruction set here. But you basically add water to it, and what it does is it makes the fire come out of it. When the fire comes out of it, it's like this mist, like this very fine mist spray. And it actually looks really close to fire. Like, it looks pretty good. But one of the cool things that you can do...
Yeah, I'm checking it out on their website, and it actually says under the features, no moisture, condensation, or harmful gases. So it actually says that it uses ultrasonic technology to create a very subtle mist that produces the illusion of realistic flames.
Interesting. So yeah, 8 to 14 hours before the water tank needs a refill. So there is definitely a water tank. But this looks, I mean, it looks good. Like, I showed you the pictures of it, and you're like, oh, it's a fire thing. But then I said, no, it's water, and you use water for this. And you can...
It's pretty convincing.
Yeah, what you can do with it is you can also change the color of the flame. So if you're a big Harry Potter fan, and you want to get that Triwizard cup or whatever, you can put the green flames on there and pretend you're a wizard, Harry. So that'll be. But the unfortunate part of this is like the pricing. The price is insane. Like, the retail price of this thing is $2,200. So I don't think it's going to show up in my house anytime soon. If it does, now that I talked about it on the podcast, it's a tax write-off, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm actually in the market for a fireplace. It's actually one of the things that didn't work in our house when we bought it. And, we're missing a few parts. It's a gas log fireplace. So I'm actually in the market, as it were. So I was kind of glad that you brought this to my attention. But I don't know. I'm the old school fireplace guy. I spent many nights campouts, and my grandparents, they have a real wood fireplace. And for me, it's the smell. The fireplace smell, when somebody's actually burning, real wood in the fireplace, you can't really replicate that with a candle in a gas log fireplace for me. So I don't know.
I think it's carbon monoxide is what they call it. Open up the flue and let that stuff out, man.
Turn on a fan, right?
Yeah. Open up the windows. You're actually being gassed to death. That's not a good thing. But yeah, no, I get you. I understand. Like, burning some nice log on there and getting that, that feel from the heat and everything. Probably not going to happen from this mister, as pretty as it is. But I do definitely like that there's different places you can install this and get it put in to a house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, where you wouldn't be able to put in, a fireplace at all. Like say you could put this in your master bedroom, like right below your plasma TV. You turn on the TV, you turn on the fireplace, and you pretty much have the same thing. Like, you have the heat from the TV and you have the feel from the fire. So or the look from the fire. So I think this is probably what you need in the master bedroom somewhere.
You could turn this on and then turn on that YouTube video, which is 45 minutes of Nick Offerman drinking whiskey by the fireplace.
Oh, that's yeah. We did that one year. So for Christmas this year though, we did the there's a maybe like a 2-hour loop of Joe Pesci in Home Alone getting his hair blowtorched off, and it's just a loop of them like sitting there looking like a crazy man. And of course, my daughter thought it was great, and she loved it. She pointed to him and said, "Ow!" every time she looked up at the TV. But it just sits there in loops with the blowtorch flaming on his head. I'll put a link of that in the show notes. But that's what we had when people came over this year.
There you go.
All right, man. Well, I think that wraps up the show for this week. So, Cody, thanks so much for coming on the show and being the guest host this week.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate, I guess, Jason being hungover. And so thanks to him. And, if you guys want to do it again sometime, let me know.
Excellent. Well, if you have any feedback, question, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for the show, give us a shout out. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm. That's where also you can send over ideas for Cody. Put something in, put Cody's name in the subject line. It's like Cody's living room.
Hashtag Cody's living room or something.
Yeah, hashtag. Yeah, just let us know. Get them to us somehow. We'll find them. and let us know where you think you should mount a TV in this. It is an odd setup. I'll give you that, man. So hopefully we can get that squared away for you. I do want to say before we get off the show, and I want to say we want to give a big thank you to everyone who does support the show, including Cody. He's a patron, longtime patron.
I am a patron.
Yeah, thanks, Cody. And especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a shout on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to our Slack channel, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day for inside baseball conversations about home technology. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. I think Jason may be back next week, and we'll probably be sitting down talking a lot about CES. But I do want to thank you again, Cody. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Seth.
Cool, man. Thanks so much.